As a quick precursor to this episode, I would love to invite you to attend the autumn edition of my in-person event, Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena, which will be held on Friday the 8th of November in Barnes, southwest London. It's a 5-minute walk from Barnes Station, and there's also a free car parking place on site. So it's the best of both worlds. We will be preparing and planning for your best ever 2025, and you will leave with that vision and strategy for your next 12 months with a newfound sense of connection and focus. We will be harvesting your present and planting the seeds for a profitable and joyful 2025, allowing your business goals to bloom with ease. I'm very excited to be bringing the warmth of the season and all of those beautiful colours and everything we can learn from shedding what no longer serves us and preparing for spring. Embrace the seasons of change and join me on 8th of November to Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena. Do not worry if you don't know anyone. I will ensure that you feel welcome from the moment you arrive until the moment you leave. I cannot wait to see you there, and grab the link now in the show notes. Hello and welcome to Women in the Coaching Arena podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Lott, a business mentor and ICF accredited coach, and I help coaches to build brilliant businesses. I know that when you prepare to enter the arena, there is fear, self-doubt, comparison, anxiety, uncertainty. You can tend to armor up and protect yourself from vulnerability. In this podcast, I'll be sharing honest, not hype, practical and emotional tools to support you to make the difference that you're here for. Dare greatly, you belong in this arena. Hello, welcome to the 75th episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I am so glad you are here. I have just had a wonderful 2 weeks in Greece. So excited to discuss today's topic, which is mastering discovery calls, to see if the break has given me any new perspectives on this important topic. I can't believe I haven't actually covered this one already, so I hope it is super helpful for you. While saying this, I should say that I actually don't really do discovery calls anymore. It was wonderful being away in Greece and managing to sell several places on my Business of Coaching program through my sales page. I mention this not to boast, but to show you what's possible once you have continued this journey and built up your reputation and your know, like and trust, because that is what it takes for someone to buy from you. But it's also an opportunity to share, not to jump the gun like that with a sales page, because I think lots of my clients join the program and they say, oh my gosh, I'm going to create a sales page. What's the structure? How do I do it? And I often have to explain that you can't really just jump to a sales page until you have a lot of solid marketing out there. Discovery calls are a really important way of you getting to know your ideal client, what makes them tick, what their real problems are. So there are so many benefits to having really good discovery calls. Obviously, the main benefit is gaining clients. You have a discovery call, strategy session, sales call, whatever you like to call it. Conversations lead to conversions. So first, let's talk about why discovery calls are the lifeblood of your coaching business. These calls are your only way, pretty much, of gaining clients until you are at the stage where you maybe do have a sales page. And some people never do that. You don't have to have a sales page. The only reason I moved to it was because I was probably having 15 plus discovery calls a week. And obviously I actually need to serve my clients and do other things. So I had to create another way. Discovery calls are often your first real direct interaction with a potential client. They set the tone for your relationship. Here are 5 reasons why they are so important. Firstly, it's your first chance to make a good impression. And obviously, as we know, first impressions really do last. Second, they allow you to qualify leads and ensure that they are a good fit. You don't have to work with just anyone. You want to work with people who value you, who are going to do the work, who are committed to the process. So it's a great opportunity for you to have that right fit call with someone. Thirdly, they provide an opportunity to showcase your expertise. So you are there as the guide, asking really great questions. 4, they help build trust and rapport with potential clients. And like I mentioned, you need people to know you, like you, and trust you to buy from you. Most importantly, this is where you convert your prospects into paying clients, and that is what we want. You work really hard through your marketing to gain those discovery calls. We want to master the discovery call art so you can turn those prospects into clients. In my program, we often do breakout rooms and actually practice holding a discovery call. You can't always learn things from a book. It takes real embodiment, and it takes also being on the other side of a discovery call to see that actually it's quite caring when someone asks you really good questions, when someone challenges your perspective on things, whereas we can immediately back off and not want to be challenging on a sales call because we don't want to feel salesy. But actually, when you get the chance to practice, you can really see that it's actually an insightful process for that potential client. So let's briefly cover the 5 key elements that make up an effective discovery call. Firstly is your preparation, doing that homework before the call so you know who they are, what they want from the process. The second thing you'll want to do is build rapport, so create that connection right from the start. Just 1 to 2 minutes of building rapport before you take ownership of that process. Do not let the other person come to you with all their questions. You set the tone for the process right from the beginning of the call, outlining exactly what will happen on that call. Third up, you'll want to do a needs assessment. You'll want to really figure out the prospect's challenges, their goals, where they are now, where they want to be, what's in the way, what they've tried already. This is the chance for you to get your coaching skills in action. You're not there to solve their problems, you're there to help them articulate their problems and where they want to get to. Once you have done that, you'll want to move to your value proposition, explaining how you can help. So this is super important, joining the dots from what they've just outlined their problems are to exactly how you can help, and as many ways as you can tie in what they are struggling with into your value proposition, the better. And the 5th and final one is next steps. So you'll want to guide that prospect towards a decision, one way or another, and also handle objections. Many people will say they want to speak to their partner. I would say, yeah, I completely get that. I like to discuss important decisions with my partner too. I'm sure your partner will want to support you. So let's get super clear on exactly what the benefits are to you so you can really articulate why you want to do this, and also really asking, are there any other queries in the way? Because often the money, the partner, all the things that they will say are not really the problem. Usually you need to dig a lot deeper to really figure out that it's maybe they don't think it'll work for them. So as much as you can stay in coaching mode, the better. Each of these elements will play a crucial role in the success of your call. And it's really easy to get sidetracked. I used to get sidetracked all the time, solving the potential client's problem there and then. So they go off thinking, great, I've got my niche now. And it's like, this is not a pick your brains call, which is why it's super important you take charge of that call right to begin with and outline the process. Because whether or not they go off thinking they can do this alone after your 30-minute call, most likely they actually can't. If they could have solved that problem, I'm sure that they would have done by now. So it's good to remember that they do need your help. Otherwise, they would not be on that call with you. Let me share a quick case study of a client who was really struggling with this process. They had a lot of discovery calls, so their marketing was working, but they were only converting around 10% of the discovery calls. We found that she was making lots of common mistakes. Firstly, positioning the discovery call as pretty much a pick your brains call. So people weren't really coming to the call expecting to buy anything. They were just looking to ask for her advice, and they had no idea that they were part of a sales process where she was going to be asking them if they wanted to work with her. So the first one is gaining qualified leads on that call rather than just anyone and everyone. She was also doing most of the talking, sharing her experience, trying to help them brainstorm solutions to their problem, not asking enough probing questions. A discovery call is the perfect opportunity to really dig into those coaching skills and ask the questions that no one has probably asked them before, so they haven't been able to really articulate their own problem. Reflecting back comes in a lot towards the end of the discovery call. So you want to be able to reflect back what you've heard to ensure that they know that you get where they are and what they want. As a coach, you are perfectly positioned to ace this call. And lastly, she wasn't clearly articulating her value proposition well, too much into the logistics of like, okay, it'll be 6 sessions, we can meet every 2 weeks, it will be this much money, rather than really focusing in on what the client has just told them and what the outcome is likely to be from those 6 sessions. You only go into logistics when the person is pretty much, yes, I'd like to hear more about the logistics. And they only want to hear more about the logistics when they know that what you offer is what they actually need. After implementing these changes in her approach, she has massively jumped her conversion rate up to about 40% within the 2 months that she's been practicing this, quadrupled the amount of clients that she had, allowed her to raise her rates, and she's working with clients who are a better fit, leading to better results and more referrals. Now she has a form that they complete prior to the discovery call taking place, where they outline, yes, they do have money to invest in coaching, and that make sure that that person is pretty much sold by the time they get on the call. And that perfectly aligns with your marketing doing the heavy lifting of your sales call. Hence why I no longer have to do a sales call, because my marketing is strong enough that I've usually handled objections, shared case studies, shared my process, all the things that you normally do on a discovery call. They already know that I get their problem because I talk about it often, for example, on this podcast and in social media posts. They already know my process because I've outlined it in my marketing. So really thinking about this sales process as your entire business, because all you are needing to do to gain clients is to build rapport with people, make sure that you communicate, that you get their needs, that you understand where they are, where they want to get to, what they've tried before, what's in the way. Make sure you're really good at explaining how you can help. And make sure you are talking to that person who is ready to buy now, guiding that person towards a decision rather than only ending your posts or whatever with a quote or a general platitude. You want to be inviting people to make that decision. It's worth saying that it does take practice, and this particular client was lucky that she had a lot of practice, which is why she gained that expertise. So I often have people say, I really need to work more on my sales process, but they haven't actually had any sales calls yet. So whilst I have a full process that I share about, here's exactly what you need to say at this stage, here's how you handle these objections. In reality, unless we are actually practicing, which is again what I try and encourage people to do within the program, either do that on the calls in breakout rooms or meet up with other people from the program and take turns in actually practicing this. It's a skill that you cannot just read about. You need to go through those mistakes, completely mess that up, and then try again. So the more you can practice this, the better. This is well worth your time. And if you want to take this even further, I encourage you to jot down after the call, what questions did you ask? What were the responses? How could you do it differently? Just like you used to do in coach training, once you had a coaching session, you have to reflect back. I don't know if your training was like mine when you had to record them. Cringeworthy, listen back, think, oh God, yeah, I should have asked this, I should have asked that. That's exactly what you can do with your sales calls to ensure that you get better at this important skill. So here are 2 actionable tips that you can take forward right now to improve your discovery calls. Firstly, use the 80-20 rule. Aim to listen for 80% of the call and speak for only 20%. This ensures that you don't get embroiled into explaining your process again and again. Your process isn't as important as that person's needs who are right in front of you. Second, end with a clear next step. Always finish your call with a specific plan. So ideally, that is scheduling another call if it's not a yes immediately, or sending a proposal, or agreeing a date that you will contact them again. Perhaps a date that you will have your first call if it is a yes. So ensure that you both know exactly what's happening next. The worst thing, and it happens often, so if it's happened to you, know you are not the only one, is the ghosting that happens after a sales call. And that will only happen if you allow that call to end without a clear next step. These adjustments will lead to a noticeable impact in your discovery call outcomes. So let's summarize today's episode. Firstly, we talked about why discovery calls matter. Then I talked about the 5 elements of an effective sales call. So that is preparation, rapport building, needs assessment, value proposition, and then next steps. Next, we talked about a case study and some common mistakes that people make and how to solve them. And finally, I left you with 2 actionable tips that can completely change the game for you on your discovery calls. I hope this quick overview was helpful for you. In my coaching program, I go way deeper and provide a full step-by-step guide, including the mindset, because often that is the biggest hurdle, as well as knowing exactly what to say. It's really embodying that you and your service is worth investing in. I also cover the 2 separate processes, firstly for selling to individuals and then for selling to organizations. There are different approaches and you will want to master these approaches because this is what is going to turn those potential clients into paying clients. You will find the link to the Business of Coaching mentorship program in the show notes. And I will leave you with the fact that every discovery call is an opportunity for you to change someone's life. That person will want to talk themselves out of making any positive change. Our brains only want to keep us safe, keep us small. So at every point they will be backing off, thinking, maybe I don't really need this, maybe I can do this myself, despite the fact that maybe they haven't done this themselves for years. So this is your opportunity to completely change the game for that person's life. I hope that is helpful for you. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.